Hello and welcome to Kelly's Cooking on the Cheap. Tonight I am doing a part 3 of rotisserie chicken from Sam's Club, and I bought it yesterday. I deboned it, and here's how much chicken I've done or got out of it. And I had cooked the carcass over from about 2:30 yesterday until about 9:30 this morning in the crock pot. And you'll see here in the picture how much broth I had made, and I'm going to use part of it for our soup tonight. And this is what I've been thinking about since the first time I had done the rotisserie chicken, and it's a creamy chicken and rice soup. And this recipe actually calls for uncooked chicken, but I'm taking a shortcut and using it. In another video, I'm saving the turkey that we had from Thanksgiving for a turkey pot pie. So hopefully I'll get that video out at some point this week. But I'm going to get started heating up my stove. I'm going to do medium high. And in a recipe I did within the last day or two, I used up all the onion I've had. So I haven't made it to the store to finish off my shopping. So I am going to use minced onion in place of my onion. So I'm going to use this, and along with some of my celery and carrot from the freezer. So hold tight. Let me go get it real quick, okay? Alright, so I'm back. Got my stash out of the freezer. And so while it's heating up, let me add that oil. I'm going to let it heat up for a moment or two. And while that's going, and it calls for 2 chicken breasts, so I'm going to maybe dice up a pretty good amount. We'll start with this and see how much we got. So just come along for the ride. Today's been a nice day, staying home inside. My boy's kind of getting bored, but he's going to have a busy week because tomorrow evening is our holiday parade downtown, so he's going to be in it with the band. That's actually the last hurrah of marching band for the season. So it'll be nice. Granted, it's going to be cold. That's the only bad thing about it. Now this weekend I've had 4 days off. I don't know if I'm going to be ready to go back to work come part of this series, but we'll see how I do it. All right, we'll start off with that. So it's heated up, the oil, so I'm going to add in the rest of what I've got here, along with my celery and carrots. It calls for 2 ribs of celery and 2 large carrots. So let me beat this up a little. Maybe. Smelling the onion. I always like onions. Alright. Add a little bit more carrot. Alright. I'm going to add a little bit more oil. I can't wait to show you the broth close-up of what I'm going to use. I stuck the other two containers, as you've seen from that picture, in the fridge. I am just waiting to put the rest of the broth in the freezer. All right, I forgot to mince the garlic, so what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to add some garlic powder. It's probably a little bit more than half, but that's all right. I'm going to let that cook for a minute or so that way the seasoning can. Of rice, of long grain rice. I found this container at the Dollar Tree, and I had used it for something else, but it's good for my rice. So let me add the rice. Now I'm going to add in the chicken. Pick up my pieces. And then 5 cups of broth. And here's the broth. So if I don't have 5 cups worth, then I will add in a little bit of water. And granted, these aren't full. So 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to add a little dash of water to add to it. There's some pepper. The only seasoning that was with the broth was whatever seasoning was on the rotisserie chicken. So I'm going to add a little salt. Probably a little bit more than I usually do. And then some pepper. Alright. So I am going to bring this up to a boil. It's looking good, I think. And then once it boils, I'm going to cover it and turn it down to medium-low and let it cook for about 15-20 minutes. Now, if you're using brown rice, and what's funny is my boy likes brown rice, my husband likes white rice. All right, the soup's done. As you can tell, the rice is cooked up. And now I'm getting ready to add in the heavy cream. I've already skipped the step of shredding the chicken since I used rotisserie chicken. Yeah, I was telling my husband when I brought home we brought home the chicken yesterday. It's like I could make a meal out of that. All right, so I'm going to let this sit here for a few seconds just to warm up. And it is looking so good. I did test the carrots just to make sure they were done, and they were. All right. I think I'm going to add a little bit more pepper real quick while it's heating. All right, so I'm going to dish up my bowl real quick and we'll taste it up. I am going to heat up this bread next to me. It's very good. I usually get it not too often. Get some juice in there. All right, let me grab my spoon. And let's see. Where did it? Tastes really good. The cream gave it the nice creaminess to it because I tried the bite before I put it in. It's very good. Nice, especially with the weather here. It's cooler today, a lot cooler, windy, so we didn't get out. So I hope you enjoyed this. When we come back, I'll be trying another chicken recipe using the rotisserie. So I'll see you at the next recipe. I'm getting ready to do tacos for lunch, but I'm preparing the sides first. So I have a little bit of refried beans and some water and bouillon powder and a couple of jalapenos. I've got that started cooking while I get the rice going. I did forget to pull out the beans from the freezer this morning, so they're still frozen. And I did cook them up, at least to the cooked part, in the Instant Pot. So they're cooked, they just need to finish cooked. Now I'm working on the rice. It calls for 2 tablespoons of oil, but I ran out yesterday, so I'm using 2 tablespoons of butter. And now I'm going to add in a cup of rice. And let me get a spoon. And we're going to fry this up a little. This is first step before we add the spices. And I think it was this recipe that I have made before that we seem to like. And we like it because it makes leftovers as well. I think I'm going to bump up the beans. The last step I'm going to do to the beans, because my boy won't eat them, right? No, he's shaking his head no. So I'm going to add a little cheese. To me, that makes the refried beans. So the spices that I'm going to add is cumin, chili powder, and it calls for garlic salt, but I'm just going to use garlic powder. If anything, I could always do a twist of salt in there, if I so choose. But then it also calls for tomato sauce, a small can. So I probably won't add the salt since there's some salt in the sauce. So I'm just going to use that. So while this is, once it gets to where we need to and cooking for 20 minutes, that's when I'll do the chicken for the tacos. So I'm going to let that sit and brown up for a moment, and let me stir up the beans. Yeah, I didn't de-seed the jalapenos, so he'll probably be on the spicy kick. So hopefully my husband will forgive me. All right. So there's that. It's getting there. It's getting brown. So let me get the measuring spoon out. Okay, that'll work. All right, so it's a half a teaspoon of cumin and then a teaspoon of the other 2 I had just mentioned. And a teaspoon of chili. And garlic powder. I need to add another half teaspoon of the chili powder. And then the tomato sauce. And this is the knife I used to cut the butter, so I'm just going to... And then I also need to add some chicken broth, which is 1.5 cups. Medium for now. And kind of split up this chicken for the tacos slash our other one I'm going to show you later. Later I'm going to attempt a chicken bacon ranch pizza. So we'll see if that comes out or not. That's going to be for our lunch through the week, or part of it. I'm just shredding up this chicken. I hope everybody's had a good weekend. It's actually been in the, I think, 40s yesterday, so it felt like a heat wave. When I say that, if you've ever watched Sister Act, one of the songs they sang was something like Heat Wave, so I always think of that. And I don't know if I've seen correctly, but they might be coming out with the third Sister Act, so that would be interesting. Yeah, my boys been busy this last week. They've had their football banquet. All right, we'll come back here in a few once it's getting closer and work to finish this up. So we'll see you here in a few. Hello, we're about done, and I'm just working on the beans real quick. I'm taking a little of the juice out because I probably put a little too much in, and I'm mashing them. And I am going to put some cheese in it. It's still a little juicy, but hopefully the cheese will thicken it up. And the rice should be done. And let me get the beans back to cooking a little. All right, I'm going to add a little water to the chicken. And let's check on the rice. Oh, while we were waiting, I did add a little cumin to the beans. I forgot to do that early on. So it looks like the rice is done. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And stir that up a little so the cheese will get melting while we dish up the rest of the stuff. All right, I did cut up some lettuce, onion, and some tomato, which I'm going to leave off the tomato off of mine. So I'm going to add a little chicken. And let me put some onion and some lettuce. And I am going to add a little of this mozzarella cheese. And I'm going to go grab some sauce. Gotta have me some sriracha. The guys will probably pull out the medium sauce. All right. So let me turn off the beans. Or the rice and beans, I'll dish up. Yeah, these are a little runnier than I like, but they'll work. So here it is. Let me take a bite of the taco real quick. It's pretty good. So when I see you next, it'll be with the chicken bacon ranch pizza. So hope you enjoyed this part. Hey y'all, welcome back. We're getting ready to do my last recipe for this round of rotisserie chicken, and I'm getting ready to make the chicken bacon ranch pizza. And this is the first time I'm going to try an keto almond flour crust. So we'll see how it turns out. I'll get you to the bowl I'm working on, and I've already think the head of this is tired. It won't stay up. All right, there we go. So in this bowl I have already the almond flour, baking soda, salt, garlic powder, onion powder, and I forgot the dry yeast. So give me a minute and let me go grab it. So I just grabbed the yeast, and it takes 1.5 tablespoon. And let me get that in. There we go. And I thought I was all prepared. All right, got that all stirred in, and it says to make a well and add the wet ingredients, which is 2 large eggs and 1/4 cup of olive oil. Now we'll be close on this. So here's the olive oil. Probably not quite. So we'll see if we can make this work. And then let me crack the eggs in there so that way I'm not getting shell in there, which is usually my luck. Alright, rinse my hands off. Alright, let's see if I can squeeze any more out. Yeah, I just got done cooking up the bacon. Try not to overdo cooking the bacon because it'll cook a couple minutes in the oven. All right, now I'm going to stir this up. First with spatula and then with my hands. Yeah, I ran out of the canola oil yesterday with the brownies. And now I'm out of olive oil. So I'm going to have to go and get some. Alright, so now I'm just going to knead this together. Alright, I think I got it. So now I'm to grab my parchment paper, and I'm to roll it in between two pieces. Oh, and this cooks on 400 degrees, so I got it preheated oven, and it's preheating, and I've got my stoneware in there. That way I can make sure and get the bottom of the crust browned as well. I'm going to go ahead and grab my rolling pin. And my other piece of parchment paper. I started getting out wax paper. It's like, oops, wrong roll. Does anybody ever do that too? Running out of space here. All right. I think I've reached the point this weekend of being done cooking the rotisserie, and then also we're working on stuff in our freezer. All right, so I'm going to kind of make it more into round if I can. Let's see if I can. I feel like I'm playing with regular dough. So with Christmas being a couple 2.5 weeks out, what's everybody? And that way we could get it in the oven. And it said to take the top layer of the parchment paper off and cook it on the parchment paper in here. Alright, so I think I'm going to cook it for the full 12 minutes and see where we're at then. And we'll come back and see if it's good, and then we'll top it off. And I'm using store brand from Kroger's. So, but you can use any kind you want. I'm just going to use a pastry brush because it's closest. Alright, that looks decent. And now I'm going to add my chicken, which I saved some from earlier. I thought about putting the cheese on first, but it's like, yeah, I'll just go ahead and put the chicken on. Yeah, while this was cooking, I did clean up, and the grease I had left from the bacon, I added to my jar of bacon grease. I usually like using it for when I do green beans, or they would be good with fried potatoes. Alright, I think that's all of the chicken. Now to the bacon. I try not to cook it, like I said earlier, too long. I did burn one piece, but I ate it. Or if you didn't have bacon and you had bacon bits, that would work too. I would have done that, but I had the bacon in the fridge that I went ahead and cooked up, and I had a good deal on it. Yeah, I don't know. Early last month. Date was pretty good out, so. Alright, so let me rinse my hands off again. And now the cheese. Yeah, this is one of my bags I had shredded from the block of cheese. Still have another one in the freezer. This, depending on how much I use, might go back in the freezer. I know there's seasoning that we put in, like onion powder, garlic powder in the crust, but I just had an idea. Just a little cheese left. That Papa John's seasoning. I can find, here it is. I had a little bit left. I'm going to just sprinkle on top. Alright, so I'm going to put it back in and for 2 or 3 more minutes. Then maybe I could talk my hubby into coming and tasting it with me. Here we go. Alright, we'll split this little piece up.
Pretty good.
How's the crust?
No, well.
Good. We'll see how it is. Actually, it's pretty good. The garlic and the crust kind of helps it out. So I highly recommend it. Just go on Pinterest and search for keto pizza crust or almond flour pizza crust, and you should find a variation. But it's good, and thank you for holding on throughout this video. And if you like it, please subscribe and share, and we'll see you soon.